Yeah.
Here we go. And in five, four, three, two, and one. Mr. Lewis Hackney.
Hello, Mr. Cameron. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining the very first ever episode of CamTalks.
Thank you for having me.
This
It's
is
an
the
honor.
very beginning, my friend. This is very beginning. You are 001 today.
Today and today only. No.
Today only. No, not just today only. For a very long time, hopefully.
Thank you. Yes, I do hope so. Number one forever.
You'll always be my number one, baby. And that's because many people don't know our story, which is what we're going to have to go over now. But, we met a few years ago, right?
We did, yes. Back in sunny Manchester, of all places, in a WeWork, many moons ago. Cam, you skateboarding around the offices, getting in the way of people, and we started having a chat, and we formed a bit of a friendship, and then we drifted apart, and then weirdly moved to the exact same location in London. So here we are.
Weirdly. Well, I kind of put that down to the fact that you knew where I was moving to, and then you ended up following me, but that's another story. So listen, the thing is that this whole podcast was pretty much born out of a conversation we once had many years ago. Do you remember when I mean, obviously, so Lewis, you are a marketeer, you're a marketing guru, done many podcasts and stuff like this for, who exactly do you work for? What's your thing?
So I've done quite a few podcasts for, work with ex-footballers, now currently working with sort of CEOs and founders, trying to build personal brands. Main space at the moment is finance, so whether that be investment, real estate, all of those things.
How the fuck do you do that, man? Isn't that the most boring thing on earth?
Well, I'm trying to make it not boring. So that's the fun. That's sort of my background. Well, it is my background, isn't my background. I've got a finance background anyway. I did a degree in maths, and then got bored of being a mathematician, and moved into marketing, which is a lot more creative and a lot more fun. So that's what
I don't think I ever knew you when you were boring.
No, that is true.
In fact, I remember seeing you once, and in fact, what it was is that, so we were working in Manchester together in a WeWork, and, obviously doing personal branding for people, and we were discussing the idea of doing podcasts, and I believe we got quite close to actually doing our own show.
Yes, we were going to do on very much just about the struggles, the journey. And
Do you remember what it was called?
I do, yes. Remember to breathe.
Remember to breathe, everybody. It's good though, because we were we're still young entrepreneurs, and we wanted to kind of document our journey of that. That's not always highs. In fact, it's very, very rarely highs, right?
Very true. Yes, mainly lows.
Mainly lows.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad that you've finally decided to do your own, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the episodes when we see the collection of guests. But podcasts are fun. So
podcasts are fun. So listen, obviously you mentioned that you were working in finance, and the little story I remember. Well, when I moved to London, because I wanted to experience something different. I decided that I'd kind of reached my limit in Manchester. I knew loads of people. We were very comfortable in this WeWork environment. Lots of free beer and lots of ladies. Anyway, the point is that when I moved down to London, I was really on my own, man. I didn't think I was going to have many friends, and certainly in the area that I moved to, I had absolutely nobody. And then we met up for a drink when you moved down, right?
We did, yes, and I think you described me as a very sad man.
It was so bad, man.
I was back in a suit. I was back in the finance
briefcase and all this kind of I looked at you. I thought, what are you doing, Lewis?
And you persuaded. Well, I don't think you meant to, but subconsciously persuaded me to go back from the dark side again, and back into this wonderful world that is marketing and content creation.
Love it. And why the hell did you decide to go back into finance, man? What was wrong with you?
Well, I think Manchester was a big learning curve. I think it's an interesting place. It very much says it wants to be this powerhouse, that's the northern powerhouse that's competing with London, but I just felt like business was very slow and quite monotonous, and I wasn't actually getting anywhere any further financially or with as a business sense than I was in my previous role. And I always wanted to move to London. And rather than being a full risk taker, I pleased my mother and went back into finance. Moved down to London. Moved in with a friend, and yeah, was doing that for I think it was about 3-6 months, if that. And yeah, we just called it quits then and went back into marketing, which I, again, no disrespect to Manchester, I found it a lot easier to get clients and work with people, and a lot of people are more open to ideas and really want to work and test things like the podcasts, videos. It's a lot easier to work with businesses down here, I think. Not disrespecting Manchester, of course, there's amazing businesses up there, but personally I think it's a lot easier to work down here.
And what was it your mother did to you to make you think that finance was going to be better?
Well, she's just always worried, money and security are quite big things in our house, and that's just, she just wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting my life, as she kindly put it, wasting your degree. So we had a bit of a conversation, and I don't know, maybe at the time it was the right thing to do, but I mean it got me to move to London, and it got me back into a risk appetite, which I suppose was good. Didn't tell her that I'd quit my job for a very long time after. Had to have a hidden Christmas.
Oh, I know that feeling.
That was literally the first time I'd gone back, so I didn't want to ruin Christmas as such by dropping the bombshell that I'd quit the industry again and had repicked at what I was doing. But yeah, as soon as I was back on my feet, in this sense, I told her, and she was not annoyed, but you know.
The thing is, man, like, she doesn't really know what you do, right?
No.
I mean, like, I asked my mother what I do, and I don't think. I mean, the interesting thing is about marketing today is that not many people actually know what the hell they're doing. It's very much, you have to innovate, you have to kind of, I mean, certainly if you're not working for a big agency and you're freelancing like yourself and myself, we have to kind of create our own jobs, right? And the problem with going home at Christmas time and saying to your mum and dad, oh, by the way, I'm working on this new Facebook ad campaign, they're like, that's nice, when are you going to get a normal job?
Yeah. How does that work? What does this do?
Hey, dude, I literally sat and watched, there's a Netflix TV show called The Greatest Hack. I don't know if you've seen about it. It's all about like the Cambridge Analytica and Brexit, Trump campaigns, and how it was all driven by this kind of Facebook ads, kind of thing. And I sat there with my parents and watched it. And afterwards, I asked them a very, very basic question, which was, what is a Facebook ad? And of course, they had absolutely no idea. It's
mind blowing. I mean, one of the lovely things that I have to fall back on is one of the clients that I'm working with. We have quite a big TV element, so I just talk about that. They know what TV is. So yeah, we're producing a TV show. They know what that is. It's also going on YouTube and Facebook, and that will be the bigger driver. But for them, I'm producing a TV show, which is that's what they can tell their friends. I think that's all mums and dads want, is to sort of be able to have a conversation with their actual friends.
Like
about
simplify, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's Lewis doing these days? Oh,
yeah. Computers.
It's a lot easier to say that he's in finance, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And what were you doing in finance?
So I was a foreign exchange broker.
Oh, that even just sounds bad, doesn't it?
They have a bad rap, but it's not as bad as it sounds. I've dipped my toe in other elements too, but yeah, that was my last dip, and hopefully actual last dip into finance was foreign exchange.
I love it. Well, look, thank you to Lewis's mum for not rejecting the idea of going back to marketing. Lewis, I'm incredibly happy that you are back in marketing, because I believe the next time I saw you after you wearing your suit, you were wearing a baseball cap, some shorts, and a t-shirt.
Yes, that is correct. That's my go-to look.
And you're wearing the exact same thing now.
Yeah, black.
Black is the entrepreneur thing, though, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm too cool. I don't really want to make the decisions in the morning to figure out what I have to wear, so I just wear this.
Yeah, I'm not doing it for that. I'm very much doing it as that's clearly the uniform, and that's what that's where I want to be.
I like it. So you're a Power Ranger. Like, you put on the suit, and suddenly it's like you've got the power to do personal branding.
Exactly, yes. And I don't like shopping for clothes.
Well, me neither. I have to say, not many people understand where we're sitting right now. And why don't you just tell people where we're sitting right now? Explain to people what you can see.
Okay. Well, I what I can see is brick walls. It does sort of look like we're sort of in a prison cell, I assume. Above me is a chipboard frame, which is actually Cam's bed. So yeah, your move was very more arty than mine. I mean, I live in a flat; it's quite normal. Whereas this is a warehouse. This is a room. There's no windows. All artificial light. And yeah, the bed is above us, but thankfully there's no one in it, so we'll be okay.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, the thing is like, so in Manchester, I got to admit, like, being comfortable in Manchester is, I mean, we had a penthouse in the Northern Quarter where we could see out all around Manchester. We had an office at WeWork. We were having such a great time. But the one thing I always wanted to do was to go and make my own films and make my own projects. And of course, when you have a business like partner, a co-founder, you end up having to like always hustle, always fucking do this, do that. And I remember one day I was looking on Facebook and I saw an ad for a warehouse in London, and I was like, well, no one lives in warehouses, surely. And I looked at it, and it was just the most beautifully like urban and just derelict place. But I just thought, how cool would that be to like move in with all these people? So yeah, I mean, dude, like, it was a year later. I think it's about a year and a half now since I moved out the penthouse and into a warehouse. So most people go up in the world.
Yes, some people. Well, that's the norm, but we're not doing the norm. Yeah, it's actually really close to my. This is very close to my 1 year anniversary in London. So this is how apt is that? That's amazing.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, very close, and maybe a few days.
Well, look, because it's your 1 year anniversary in London, and not just because you came onto my show, I've got a little present for you, Lewis. So give me 1 second. Let me just get this little present.
I'm really impressed with that segue. I'm not.
Okay, well, only because it's time to celebrate. All right, it's time to celebrate. You know, we're both much more free than we ever used to be, and so Lewis, thank you very much for coming on to CamTalks, the very first episode ever, and open it up.
Thank you so much. This wrapping paper is amazing. Good vibes.
Well, there you go.
And selfie.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It is a magic Rubik's Cube.
Oh, it is a Rubik's Cube. It's actually a knockoff Rubik's Cube, and I actually left the price on the back. I don't think we should let you see that. Okay, I ripped off half of it, so you might not be able to tell how much it was. It's actually a knockoff Rubik's Cube as well. It's not quite called a Rubik's Cube. I think it's called a Magic Cube.
A Magic Cube. Yes, it is, because it's not the real colours. We've got pink, green, light blue.
Those colours are probably patented for Rubik's. God knows. But I thought you were a very clever man, and so, I figured give you something to stimulate the mind.
Yeah, I mean, what I can do is I can 3/4 solve a Rubik's Cube or Magic Cube.
Oh, wow. Do we dare try and take the time to solve it right now?
No, that's the issue. I can only get so far. It's quite embarrassing.
I mean, look, man, we have some very big SD cards sat in these cameras and microphones, so I don't think it's going to... I mean, will it take you an hour, maybe? How long do you reckon it'll take you?
To what? What I can do is I can get it right so that these two layers are right, but I can't solve the top.
Just always got to that point.
Yeah, it's a bit hard after that.
Wow, it's a bit like your career.
Yeah,
you get 99% there, and then you are fuck.
One step too far is usually the case.
Mate,
look, we've got a line already.
I love it, absolutely love it.
I'll keep playing with it and going back to it, and hopefully it will be half sold at some point.
Absolutely. Well, look, that Rubik's Cube represents your year of being in London, and bigger, better things, mate.
This is really thoughtful. I like it. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome, man. Well, I think it's important that you appreciate your friends, because I guess I've always considered you one of my closest friends, and someone that, from a professional sense, I can always give you my problems to try and solve with me. So you've helped me many times with clients whenever I've had to do personal branding for people. The only other person I could speak to without having to pay him a bloody arm and a leg is you. And I think we have a very cool relationship where we're both kind of happy to help each other, whether I kind of help you out with ideas for content, or you help me out with strategy, which of course is your main thing. But yeah, so thank you, man. Thank you for always being there with me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly what you said. I feel that we can spitball and be quite free about it. It's, yeah, you don't have to charge for everything. Jesus.
Oh, well, some things you do, but being a friend to people is hopefully something that's not.
Yeah, 100%.
You're priceless, Lewis.
Thank you so much.
You're absolutely priceless. So, Lewis, let's talk a little bit about trim, right? Because I literally, as many people can probably see if they're watching some video, I haven't had a haircut in a long time. But there was a little company called Trim that you started a few years ago. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that was basically when I left my job. My first job straight out of uni, I had a bit of an itch, and it was to start a business. Very cool to be in the tech space, sort of problem-solving apps. And yeah, with my brother, we set about building a platform for hairdressers, the Uber of hairdressers, which every investor told me not
called
to.
Trim.
Yes, called Trim. Beautiful name.
Beautiful name.
But yeah, I learned a lot about that. There was a lot about business, a lot about marketing. That's sort of where it all stemmed from. A lot about decision making, hiring. That's partly the reason that the business didn't go into the section that it should have done, and didn't really transform into what it was my ability to lead and actually hire the right people. We had a bit of an issue with that, and we sort of went around in circles quite a lot. And yeah, it was something that we were both passionate about. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed the idea. But yeah, we both moved on to different things. So yeah, I'm doing the marketing and personal branding, which is a lot more fun. I don't think I would have succeeded with that platform, even if it had got a little bit further off the ground. Yeah, it was a good learning curve. And yeah, so my brother, he's also just started a business. He now sells wine. So yeah, we've both moved on from that. But yeah, I think there was a lot of lessons learned from that. But it was a fun experience.
What's it like working with your brother?
Weirdly, so this is the thing. So my brother is quite a lot younger than me. He's just 20, and we spent a considerable amount of time not actually speaking to each other as kids. Like, we weren't really close in that sense, because him and my sister are actually 2 years apart, so they were like the close siblings. And yeah, we weren't really friends as kids, and then we started this, and it was very, very easy. Like, we just separated everything. It was very much, we're speaking as brothers now, we're speaking as business partners. It was actually a lot easier. I've worked with friends as well in the past, and I think working with family was actually a lot easier than working with friends. But now we both work separately, which maybe says a lot more.
Nah, but I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, you obviously learn a lot, and I think this is the number one thing that I find incredible about being in the modern day. It's like, we now know, because of the collective knowledge of everyone that's ever existed using things like Google, that failure is, the main thing of, success. And so it's interesting when, normal people, and I say normal people quite loosely because, anyone has the ability to try something new, but if they don't try and do something, and then they don't fail, then they never learn the lessons they needed to know to succeed. So what was kind of the biggest lesson you learned from not just working with your brother, but obviously trying to make a startup?
A lot, millions and millions and millions of things. I mean, big ones would be patience, like the fact that things don't work in the space that you want them to work in, the time frame. That was a big one. Yeah, like, I was very impatient about getting the platform built, getting funding, like ticking boxes and sort of going through that stage. So that was a big lesson from that. Another one would probably be, yeah, with working with my brother, that wasn't the biggest issue. Like I said, I basically, neither my brother or myself are coders. So obviously, most of these people that have these amazing tech ideas tend not to be that, and they tend to hire fantastic CTOs and hire developers that are out of this world and produce these for them, and then they'll go and market them, which was going to be the original plan. But yeah, we hired wrong. The guy was, on paper, was fantastic. Like, he'd taken a business through to sale. He's many hundred, like, obscene amount of experience. Yeah, like, worked with investors. Was like, yeah, it was probably too good to be true, I guess. So yeah, that one as well, being a little bit more cautious of the people that I hire. And
how did you choose the person? I mean, like, you know what it's like with people. I mean, you know, you're putting your baby in the hands of someone that maybe doesn't care that much.
Yeah, no, I think there was a little bit of that. I found him through Angel.co, which is a bit like LinkedIn but for startups. He was quite keen to take. He had a development business anyway. He wanted to take a project on where he could take equity into it. So, like I say, on paper everything seemed right. He wasn't working with us. He was working remotely. He was based in Birmingham. We were based in Manchester.
Oh, Birmingham.
Yes, lovely.
Peaky Blinders, mate.
Yeah. Sutton Coldfield, the posh bit.
Is there a posh bit in Birmingham?
Well, apparently so.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a big one, was learning that. And I think one thing that was the biggest issue was holding on for too long. Like, I should have just said, look, this isn't working, let's move on. But I was, again, being impatient and I felt like this was going to work. So yeah, that's a big one as well, was just learning about people and understanding the hiring and sort of firing process and doing the contracts for that and making sure that everything was above board. But yeah, it just didn't go off the ground because of that.
And of course, there's a lot of people trying the same thing, right?
Well, with everything that's any good, there'll be more than one.
But no one called Trim. And I think that was always what made me really interested in your idea because, you know, the name Trim, I mean, like, God, like that could be etched into the history books, man, you know. And I mean, what was the thing that kind of kept you going in the hard points? Because you said that you stuck on for what you think may be too long, but did you have those moments where you thought, you know what, like this isn't working, and how did you kind of deal with that?
I'm very stubborn. I've always been stubborn, and I am very driven. So I was never, any low point to me was never a massive issue. The biggest thing for me was probably when it wasn't working. So that sort of stage was the toughest time, was trying to work out how do I go on to the next stage. And that's when it wasn't great. Like, to be honest with you, I probably didn't deal with it. Like, it was probably the worst period of my life. It was probably solid 3 months of thinking, I'm going to have to go and work back in finance. How am I going to get a job? Everyone's going to think I'm a failure. This is like the worst thing ever. But yeah, we got through it. Like, I just pivoted horribly, well, not horribly, but I just was like, well, what did I do well? Oh, I built the account to 15,000 followers in a silly amount of time. Like,
and how did you do that? I mean, because we've spoken many times about these crazy strategies to kind of grow Instagram accounts. So what's your biggest lesson in kind of building accounts?
So that was back in the
glory days.
The glory days.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Of when you could very simply growth hack the hell out of it. But no, it was very much, well, you could, like, a bit. It was people were very keen to follow people back, and there was a lot of following and unfollowing, and it was very easy to artificially inflate your numbers. But to get like through rounds of like to talk to investors and stuff, they saw it as an impressive feat.
It's like perception is better than the reality, right?
Well, I mean, these people were interested in women's hairstyles. Like, this was the audience was correct. It was just a little bit more inflated than what the numbers perceived.
So social proofing, really.
Yeah.
Making sure that the investors think that there is a demand for your product in the market, and therefore you're going to find any way to bolster those numbers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, let's talk about these engagement tools here, because, like, you know, I'll openly admit I've used every engagement tool on earth to try and figure out how this modern marketing mix works. Because, you know, essentially it's one of those things where, you know, if your goal is, as you just said, seeking investment, the real question is that, well, you know what, like, if it's going to help me by having 10,000 followers on Instagram, then why don't you just buy them?
Well, these people are actually engaging. Like they're not. It's not, if you buy followers, they're never going to like your photos because
Who cares?
they're a simple.
Who cares? I mean, if it's about going into a meeting with an investor and you're sat in front of the investor and saying, here's our product, here's our sort of forecast.
Yeah,
I want to check out our socials, and they're looking at it. You do one glance at it, they see, oh shit, he's got like 10,000 followers. Like,
Yeah, but I think investors are a lot more savvier than they were. Yeah, like now you're not going to give
not anymore
100 grand
anymore.
just because you've got 50,000 followers or whatever.
But of course, back then there was literally these like click farms, right? Chinese bloody factories with like thousands of iPhones where they'd just go boop, like boop, like boop, like, and that was interesting because like it was an interesting period of time because of course it gave way to the fake influencer. But my issue, and of course, I believe that the strategies you were implementing were much more about reaching out to thousands of people a day and hoping they'll reach back to you, right?
Yeah. So
right. So not quite buying the things, but poking on mass scale.
Yeah, I mean, I built accounts that would drive traffic back to the account and doing a similar concept. So whether it would be like it was brash, it was not subtle in any way. It was very much designed to bring people who may have an interest in hair and styling to the page. We had 15 accounts that were commenting on any image that used a hashtag hairstyle, literally saying go and follow trim hair.
Oh, I've seen them. Yeah.
We commented on lots of images. We even started a hashtag that got like obscenely used. I think it's still used today as like one of like the 6th or 7th highest hashtags if you want to boost your hair post.
Wow.
Which is quite amusing. So it's just stuff like that. And yeah, they came back.
But of course, it's all right. I mean, like, if you're literally just trying to, get people who are interested in hair to come in and look at a Instagram that is, about hair, then what's wrong with that?
No, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
well, no, there's everything wrong with it because, of course, marketers, like Gary Vee or like, these like Neil Patel or, people that unfortunately I will not name on this podcast because I know them. They say, oh, authenticity, fucking everything's about like, care, give value. But there's a big argument to say, well, actually, we're in the early stages of a business here. Whatever tools we can implement, whatever process we can implement to attract that initial audience should be implemented. But there's something really disgusting about saying, oh, we basically use bots.
Yeah, there's a fine balance. Like, you can artificially enhance anything, like Photoshop. You can make an image look better. Video editing, you can make it cleaner, you can make it smoother. Like, there's always going to be there's someone that's going to be trying to gain an edge, but in the long term, a business makes money by actual people buying it. Like, it's never going to make its money or revenue through someone clicking like on a photo. It will only take you so far. It will only take you to a point where someone goes, okay, yes, they've got 10,000 followers. Okay, yes, they're putting out content every day. People are engaging with it. This must be a legit business. But there's only so far that faking it till you make it can actually take you. Like, at the end of the day, it will come down to sales and actually producing stuff that people do want to engage with. There's only that social proofing and getting to a level where people think it's acceptable to follow you, which is also true. Like, no one wants to be first to the party. Is making sure that you don't do it forever in that sense. Like, so once we hit a certain level, we stopped with the follow unfollow. We then focused on the hashtag and tried to build it out from that. Like, you got to sort of know when to.
And then of course the content, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, the best thing about that was I didn't produce a single piece of content.
You're a curator instead of a curator.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you use the hashtag, we'll feature you. And people are obviously going to start using it once there's a decent number when they feel that they're going to get.
And dude, this was literally back in the days of the Wild Wild West, right? This is when, it was just everywhere. I remember seeing people comment on my shit being like, come and follow me. And I'm like, who the hell are you?
This was prime time for it. I mean, it still happens, but people are a bit more numb to it now. It's
So what do you do now? What's the main strategy in 2019?
The big one is content, and long form content, and making sure that is done well and correctly. And actually almost being bespoke. Like this podcast, for example, like this only needs to reach 1,500 businesses, and it take on 10 clients from that. Like that as a number is tiny in podcast world. Like this podcast serves a purpose by bringing in clients and
well,
revenue.
I mean, hopefully, it'd be lovely to bring in some clients, but at the same time, like there's something that like I think marketers are always first to ruin any industry or any new innovation. Like we're always the first to try and like growth hack something or do something crazy, but beyond the people that want to sell you shit, there is a huge amount of people that just find value in listening to podcasts. I mean, podcasts have literally doubled in the last like 5-6 years. And I think that's because when people find voices that they can relate to, then they become essentially part of that person's life. And there's something weird about the fact that maybe 10 years ago, if we had kind of switched influences and said, okay, who's the top people that are influencing your life and your life? It might be like, I don't know, David Beckham, like Gary Lineker, because he's in all the bloody Walker's adverts and like all these celebrities and stuff. You ask kids these days to write down a list of their top 10 influencers, and they're all going to be different.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my little sister's 11, I think. She won't
be listening to this. It's fine.
Well, yeah, unless she can find it on YouTube. Yeah, that's the thing. She only watches YouTube. This is funny because like no one ever sets out to be like an influencer or a YouTuber. Like it's very much like they're doing something that they like. But now she will very much say the sentence, "I want to be a YouTuber when I'm older," but doesn't really know what she wants to do. Right, so it'd be interesting. So be interesting to see sort of where that goes in the sort of next 7 years.
I mean, obviously, I've had the same experience. I've worked at schools, and when I've gone into schools, I've kind of figured that these kids literally want to be online all the time. I guess what's the thing is, I was, I'm a filmmaker first, right? I grew up in a filmmaking family. My dad's a filmmaker. I've been writing, films and making films since I was like 6 years old. Always had a camera in my hands, always editing stuff and always doing stuff like this. And then when I went into marketing, and it's quite interesting. So the first client I had, first proper client anyway, was the North Face. And I'm like, how the hell did I get this gig? And of course, all it was some naive marketing manager at a PR company somewhere thought, I have no idea how to make videos. Let's find someone that knows how to make videos. And of course, these people are now still in charge of people's marketing strategies. They're still the people trying to tell clients how to make videos. And then all they do is outsource it to a filmmaker. And of course, the biggest thing I've realized now is that you can't just be, a content creator that's just putting out pictures and all that. Or you could, if that's your niche. But essentially, screenwriting has been the fundamental basics of any story ever told. Beginning, middle, and end. Shakespeare told it best. And yet, kids are so much more obsessed with scrolling every day and looking for Instagram every day and following their favorite influencers that they fail to go and tell a story. They don't know how to tell stories. And so when it comes down to, okay, little Timmy, here's a camera. You've all got cameras now on your iPhones and stuff. Timmy, go and make us, a vlog. And of course, Timmy goes and makes a vlog, and it's him sat in his room, and the real clever ones these days just bloody watch, film themselves playing, Minecraft or like whatever they play these days, and suddenly next thing you know, they're influencers. So the kid in their class sees, oh, Timmy's just sitting there playing games and filming himself, and now he's like an influencer, right? And they're failing to understand that there is a fundamental principle of storytelling that is just not being taught in schools. If they teach kids how to read and write, why the hell do they not teach them how to make films? And that's something which, when I was in Manchester, I did a little bit of work in a primary school in South Manchester. Really poor school, right? These kids came from really, different backgrounds, but they were all fundamentally, in a poor area. But they all had iPads, because they obviously got a grant from whatever, and they all got given iPads. Now, when I was working with them, I would literally teach them how to write a story, what happens in the beginning of the story, what happens in the middle of it, and what happens at the end. And over the period of about 6 months, I'd go into this school once a week. We had the most incredible films made. We had a zombie film made. We had anti-bullying films made. And they all followed a very simple structure of beginning, middle, and end. And I just realized this was so big, the fact that no teachers knew how to teach this because they were either just writers or they weren't filmmakers. Yeah. And suddenly, you understand that, these kids' parents were coming up to me and saying, Cam, I'm going to buy my kid a camera. What camera should I buy them? I'm like, well, the one in their pocket. Like, they've got the camera. They'll walk around with these things. And that's the thing, maybe kids these days need to learn more about screenwriting and actually learn more about storytelling and less about posting to Instagram and all that kind of stuff, because there's only so much Gary Vee you can listen to, right? Before you start asking, well, how the hell do I actually tell a story?
Yeah, no, it's a lot more important. I mean, it goes back to what you're saying about sort of social proofing and trying to like having so many followers and all this. Like this, my big thing for 2019 is to tell the story, be the business, explain what it is you're doing, like essentially bringing faces back to businesses, which is very much something that's been lost over the sort of like the last 10 years. Like it's people buy from people, like it's a trust thing.
Mate, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's bringing that back, and it is in the form of a story, or a story isn't necessarily fiction. It's something that's
but it's interesting, man. People love faces, right? Like scientifically, like we are attracted to faces because there's some kind of evolutionary comfort in knowing that the person I'm looking into the eye won't kill me, won't screw me over, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that, you work in personal branding, and so you help people monetize essentially their face. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's making sure that they are. If you can be bothered to start a business and then you can't be bothered to put your face to it, then what are you doing? Like, how are you not proud of what you're doing? Like, it very much needs to be, this is my business and this is why I'm doing it. And it just resonates with people a hell of a lot better. I mean, like I say, it's been completely lost. Like we had Google AdWords and faceless businesses, online market, like online retail. It was very easy to sell. It's very easy to do that. I mean, there's a lot of like drop shipping and stuff, and very easy to just
like automated businesses, like making money in your sleep.
Yeah. But that shouldn't be the goal. Like you very much need to be proud of what you're doing, and that's essentially what I'm doing now. And it's like it doesn't matter how many people it goes to, as long as it goes to the right people. Like in a B2B market, for example, like you're not ever going to reach 1 million views on a video about what you're doing, but it only needs to reach, like I said, 1,000, or not even that, like 100, whoever it is you're trying to sell to. For example, foreign exchange, the finance director. If I did a podcast about foreign exchange and talked all about that, they're probably going to be more interested in that than constantly picking up the phone and pissing them off. So like, it's very much, making sure it reaches the right people and actually not really worrying about the figures, because the actual figure that matters is the revenue. Like it needs to hit
the bottom line.
Yeah, like
the bottom line. Do you know, so many people just forget that there is a bottom line, and that, I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that I've literally downsized my life. Like I threw out 90% of my shit. I don't have any offices. Like I moved into a tiny little warehouse in North London. But if you're operating a business that has offices, I mean, look, for example, WeWork, I mean, they've just been in the news recently for the preparation for their IPO and obviously finding out that they're not making any money. But the point is with WeWork is that they attract huge amounts of businesses and entrepreneurial type people who, of course, all come into these very expensive glossy offices. Then they all just sit in their glass pods. And there's tons of events on and no one really ever goes to them. And of course, that's just pissing away money. Absolutely pissing it away, and for every time that they don't do a little bit of content, do a little bit of marketing, it's just money on the table being burnt. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is that what's the point of having all of this, opportunity if you can't then say to yourself, well, how much do we need to operate as a business every month? X amount. And then if we're not doing the things like going to events or creating content or, then how the hell do we ever expect to be able to pay off that thing? And I think that's maybe the thing, the fundamental difference these days is it's quite cool, it's quite cool to be in business by yourself. It's quite cool to be an entrepreneur. And I don't know, I mean, why is that? Why is everyone suddenly wanting to jump on the entrepreneurial bandwagon?
Well, I think it just goes back to Instagram. It's very much, I don't think they want to be a entrepreneur. They want to be, it's all about passive income and all this bollocks. Like, it is just utter rubbish. Like, it's freedom, though, isn't it?
But everyone wants the freedom, do whatever the hell they want, right?
Yeah, they want the freedom, but they want the money, and they don't want to work. Like, I think it's easy. Like, I essentially think that people think it's easy to start your own business.
When you look at these Instagram influencers, man, like they're flying, well, they say flying on private jets. I do remember, I mean, I've met tons of influencers, as have you, and when I meet an influencer who, has 500,000 followers on Instagram, and then I spend the time with them, and they're literally looking for any opportunity to make themselves look more important. So like you'll be in a nice hotel and they'll go over to the fireplace and they'll get their friend to be taking like a million photos of them, and then next thing you know, you see them on Instagram and they're in a private jet, and you're like, well, I was just with you a second ago in a hotel, so how the hell are you in a private jet? And part of this is like, well, these people literally go out and they look for the backdrops. They look for the opportunities to make themselves seem super, super loaded, right?
Yeah, they create a story, which
I'm all about a story, man. I love a good story.
It sells. It does sell.
Yeah.
But I think that's why entrepreneurship is cool, because it's perceived as, well, lavish, and you get to freedom when it's the complete opposite. Well, I mean, we're doing this. I mean, probably wouldn't be doing this on a Monday afternoon if I worked in an office, but
Absolutely not, mate. No, I slept until like 10 a.m. this morning, mate. I'm living the life, mate.
Yeah, I know. But like, there's other element. Like, you'll be working till 10 o'clock at night, whereas the guy who's doing the 9 to 5 will not be doing that at all. like, there's different elements to it. Like, you feel that it's very much I get to travel the world, and I have not been on a plane in many years. I struggle to leave the fake office in my house, but like, it's I think that's the thing.
It's lonely, man.
I mean, which was where our original idea came from, was just talking to each other for a little bit.
The podcast that we were discussing many years ago, Remember to Breathe,
would have been all about that. But
would have been all about that, man.
Yeah,
we're all about that. Well, look, I'm glad that you're here now, because obviously we get an opportunity now to work together in all manner of things. I get a lot of really good inspiration and knowledge and experience from books, right? I can't actually read because I'm dyslexic as hell, but I listen to audiobooks. Actually, I'm not dyslexic. This is the funny thing, is I used to have a personal development coach who was a fantastic coach, and he actually said to me, Cam, you're not dyslexic. Like, you're super clever. And I said, but Matt, like, I am super dyslexic. Like, I've been like signed off by a bloody child psychologist twice, and they made me do all these funny tests and shit. This thing that just confuses me. And anyway, so Matt said to me, he said, look, Cam, do this one more test for me. I was like, I'm going to do another test, fine. And tell me the result, right? So I did this online test, and it said, oh yeah, for dyslexics, this is a test. And so I did this test, and it said, you have Ireland syndrome. Ireland syndrome, right?
What, like the country?
Like, that's what I thought, the country, and I don't even know if that's the right pronunciation, but Ireland syndrome is basically where your eyes struggle to focus for long periods of time if the contrast between light and dark is too much. So with a book, you have white paper with black ink, and so I'll get halfway across the sentence and I'll lose track of where I am, and because I fail at getting the whole way through a sentence, and my mind just starts giving up and blah 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 blah. So Matt says to me, Cam, this is your problem, the website told me that first. I went back to the guy and he said, look, Cam, try these, right? And he gives me a pair of these yellow glasses, right? And I shit you not, like, I read my first ever book at the age of 27, right? With, these yellow glasses on. And I got through the entire book in about 2 sittings. And honestly, that was the thing, that since an early age, my teacher still said to me, he's got dyslexia, give him extra time during the exams, do all these extra things. He even got a free MacBook at uni, which was, I think I was probably one of the last generations that got that, actually. Go austerity. Anyway, and the point is that, I always thought that I was dyslexic, but hey, it all just turns out to be, a bit of Ireland syndrome. So, but anyway, back to the point, books. Books are so fascinating for me. So tell me about the last book you read.
I'm a bit like yourself. I struggle to read a whole book. I've actually only ever read one physical book. Ironically, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Ooh, the Jordan Bamford version.
Yeah. The whole his book. It's
biography.
It's the story. So yeah, it's biographical. It's good. I enjoyed it. I've read it. One thing that I do now is I've just literally a few weeks ago got Audible. And started to listen to books on that. What I'm listening to at the moment is The Thank You Economy. But this is like a little tip, I don't know if anyone has known this, but I don't actually have the app. I have it on my computer, and the computer automatically gives you cliff notes, so it tells you where to be in the book, which is a lot more beneficial than listening to the whole thing. So if those kind of books aren't really ones that you read cover to cover.
I mean, what's the Thank You Economy about? Obviously, I've read it, but just give a little plug to Gary V.
Yeah,
my boy Gary V. Woo. Yeah.
It's very much about creating a brand and giving content and giving value and producing everything on a plate and then letting the person eat it and then asking if they want to give them some money for the meal, for example.
And this was the book after Jab, 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 Right Hook.
I don't know his order.
I think so, yeah. Because of course the principle of jab, 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 right hook is that you jab by giving value, you jab by giving value, you jab by giving value, and then you ask for someone to buy your shit. Right? Yeah. But the Thank You Economy kind of, from my point of view, the Thank You Economy turns upside down the idea of madmen marketing, and is actually the one book I'd recommend to older marketeers who perhaps have got 35, 40 years experience in the industry but don't quite understand how modern marketing is done, because it's very much about, give someone something for free and let them eat it.
Yeah, no, I that's a good analogy.
And then give them a bill afterwards.
Yeah, or see what they want. No, that's a very good analogy. That's one thing that the reason that I started listening to it was, I do a lot of assuming, which is always bad when selling. So it allowed me to re-pitch, I guess, come up with new angles on how to sell what I'm trying to do. Because in my head, it makes perfect sense, but like you said, for someone potentially a generation older, it's a little bit complicated to get around what it is that you're trying to achieve. So that really helped, especially with the like when I say personal. When I first started pitching personal branding to people and creating this job. A lot of people were like, what is that? Like, what are you, like, who are you? One. And what is that? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But now it's, I don't call it personal branding. I just say, we're going to market it, and then you're going to talk, you're going to be the face. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you give value, and people will buy from you because they trust you. And they go, yeah, that is weird, doesn't it? Because it's just business, and it makes sense. So that's why I started listening to that. Any recommendations would be great.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what, I gave up listening to the business books because I've listened to hundreds of books, and I think once your head is full with like Dave Asprey, Game Changers is probably one of my favorite books. It talks all about how certain successful people do certain habits, and of course you ingest that, you listen to it, and but I've started listening to biographies now, because biographies for me are now a chance to relate to someone who has been through success and kind of understand it. So the one I'm reading at the moment is called Shoe Dog, and Shoe Dog is by Phil Knight. It's the biography of Phil Knight, who is the founder of Nike. And it's an absolutely stunning book, man, honestly. One of my friends, Josh Renouf, who is an incredible entrepreneur, he has this amazing coffee machine alarm clock called the Barista. And I went and done some work with Josh recently, and I said to Josh, you got any book recommendations? He said, yeah, listen to Shoe Dog. So I went and started listening to it, and it's 16 hours, man. A lot of these books, I usually when I'm on Audible, I'm like, oh yeah, 4 hours, yes,
Yeah.
But this one was 16 hours, and after the first hour of listening to it, I wish it was 30, And the only other book that was 30 hours was The Better Nature of Our Angels or something like that, like the history of violence. It was a crazy book. But Shoe Dog is all about the founder of Nike. Right? And a really interesting story about the founder of Nike is that when he first decided to start a shoe company, it was very much on the whim. He actually went traveling around the world and ended up in a Japanese manufacturer's office, asking about how they make shoes. And they said to the guy, okay, Mr. Knight, tell me, what are your name? So I shouldn't be doing Japanese accent there.
Yeah, it's not the greatest.
What is the name of your company? And this guy didn't have a company at the time. He didn't have a company. He stood in an office at manufacturers in Japan back in the 60s, and he literally thought in his head, what shall I call this company? And he thought back to his bedroom at home, and this guy had been like a track star, he'd been running for years, and he had been awarded a medal for one of his things, and it had a blue ribbon on it. So he said, my company name's Blue Ribbon. As yes, Blue Ribbon, we heard of it. And from there he managed to order a whole load of trainers, and then those trainers were then shipped to him. And then over the years, there's so many trials and tribulations that a guy and his team went through, that it was so inspiring. It really was so inspiring, and it made me realize that biographies are now kind of my next step in terms of learning from other people, because the times that are tough you don't really hear about in these business books. Certainly things like Gary V, he's incredibly good at speaking basic speak, English to people who maybe aren't marketeers and stuff. But when you can listen to someone's biography and you're like, shit, like this guy's been through so much, suddenly you kind of feel that. And maybe this is the key and the secret to entrepreneurship, is that when you failed or you feel that you failed, you get back up straight away. And you'll only feel that if you listen to other people with much, much bigger problems. I mean, this guy, Phil Knight, literally had like millions of pounds worth of debt because, he was buying shoes that he couldn't afford. But he was so confident in his trainers that people took him seriously. So another little chapter in this book is really interesting. He was like, millions of pounds in debt, and he needed another million, right? And so he went to this Japanese investor and he said, look, I need $1 million right now to save this company. I know you've already given me $1 million a few years ago, but actually I need this. Otherwise, the company's going to go to war. And the guy says, no problem. You have to show me your books. You have to show me what you've been spending this money on. And he looks through the accounting books and he says, why is it here that you've spent $2 million on an order of trainers when you don't even have that much money in the bank? And Phil Knight says to him, because I wish I could have ordered $5 million worth. And the guy says, confident in your product you are. Here's $1 million. And it was really inspiring, man. You kind of get these stories and you're like, ooh, a little bit of goosebumps,
That's good.
Yeah.
Artist discretion, though, I suppose. Like, the story is only as truthful as the guy who's saying it.
Hey, and for every one of them, there's another 10, maybe 100 people that have failed at that point in their life. Yeah. But that's it. Right?
Well, most of it is luck, I think. Well, not luck, but yeah, definitely.
Luck. Anyway, listen, we're coming to the part of the show now where I want to kind of dig into a little bit more about what's going out, happening in the outside world. So, what have you been listening to recently? Like, what's trending at the moment? Do we know what's trending?
Trending? What, music?
I don't know, anything wise, like what's going on in the world?
Oh, the real world.
The real world, yeah. Outside of this little bubble that we're in. Oh, Boris Johnson. Bloody Johnson. Do you know what? I like him.
I don't dislike him.
Oh, mate, and I'm a massive Jeremy Corbyn fan as well. I'm a real left-right lefty. It's pretty confusing to my parents, but I think he's got a character, right? And this is what you're talking about. You're talking about faces who have personal brands behind them that tell a story.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, no one really trusts politicians, but he definitely has a brand, which is something that most politicians don't. I mean, that's why Donald Trump was so successful, was that he was a celebrity before he was a president, and I think there will be a lot more celebrity.
Oh my God,
presidents.
Can you imagine a YouTuber? Imagine a YouTuber who literally vlogs every day that they're in the Oval Office. Good morning, America.
Good morning. Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, it'd be super transparent. Dan Bilzerian is very keen to be president.
Oh, mate. I mean, this is the funny thing. You're absolutely right. No one trusts the politicians. So if we don't trust them, we may as well just laugh at them.
Yes, 100%.
It's very much like, the Real Housewives of like whatever. These things are so scripted, and we know they're scripted, but we love it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, maybe I'm being very naive, but I feel whatever they do just doesn't really affect me. Just my life seems to carry on. Like, I've never been on like, them goddamn politicians. I really wanted to do that today. It's never been like, I've never been like, oh God, if only they'd like. It just never.
But look, it's really interesting, man, because like we both work in marketing, right? Yeah. We both do personal branding, so we've both worked for celebrities, high net worth individuals, people that will pay us a shit ton of money to manage their personal brands, and we know it's powerful. I mean, look, like, I'm sure we just started doing it because we were hungry, but we eventually found out that this is the type of thing that now, at first it sold some more products on Facebook, sure, whatever. Now it's literally changing the fabric of society. Democracy is being swayed not by the people who have the strongest views, but the biggest bank account. And this is why, the far right and, people who want to back these political campaigns are putting so much money into Facebook ads.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I feel that they're gonna stop it. I don't think they're gonna want it.
Really? Like, Facebook gonna stop it? Come on, Zucks enjoys the power, man.
Of course he does.
But he loves it.
There's gonna be like, they don't like it. It's too easy.
How can you stop it though, man? I mean, like, how do you tell the difference between people like me and you and Cambridge Analytica, which in all fairness, we could probably be Cambridge Analytica one day, and the worst thing I think is that I remember my first job as a video producer that I ever questioned, and that was for JCB, you know, the diggers.
I do, yeah.
And I was really I was like, it was screwing my head because I used to be really, you know, into the army and all this kind of stuff. And I found out that they lobbied for a huge amount during the Iraq War. And, you know, I was like, oh, do I really want to accept this creative brief by JCB to sell their like indestructible phone or whatever? And of course, the moment I, you know, told them that I want X amount of money, and they were like, okay, fine. Suddenly all my worries went. I was like, you know what, maybe money can solve these problems. So, you know, are we all susceptible to corruption by payment?
Well, clearly you are. No, I'm joking. I mean, I didn't know that. It's just JCB to me.
I mean, they're all just as bad, right?
Yeah, corporate. Like, I mean, it's going to be brought up. So that Brexit, like the big thing where people are like, oh well, we'll never trade with Europe again. Well, we already don't trade as countries anymore. There's too much sway in brands like Nike, for like you were saying, is like what was your example, and like Apple and Google. These are bigger than countries, like top 50 countries. Like the guy in the street is not gonna not buy a Porsche in 3 months because it's from Europe now. He's still going to want the Porsche because he knows that it might impress the girl.
It's good branding, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's not going to not buy the car. And vice versa. Like, I don't really know what we produce, but I don't know, Scotch eggs. Like,
Scotch eggs. Hey, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I'm a left-right lefty. I told you that before. But, like, I really do think that Brexit's going to be a good opportunity for those entrepreneurs, British businesses that want to go out to the rest of the world and, you know, do marketing in other places. Because, you know, exporting for Britain isn't something new. Like, we export, you know, I think maybe a few things, right?
Yeah, sure.
More than Scotch eggs, I think. And insurance. But, you know, it means that there's an opportunity that the world is now looking at the UK.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
And we'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like, it just needs to happen.
Do you have a Brexit strategy?
Yeah, just get it done. Just crack on. Like,
No, I mean, are you going to be doing anything? I mean, I know there's a time period on this now, but like, are you doing anything right now to, you know, take advantage of the situation?
It's nothing really. I mean, it affects some of my clients, so we'll obviously be doing stuff around that with investments and stuff. It's important that they touch on the subject. It's not a massive thing. I mean, from a business point of view, I'd love to expand into Europe, so that would be. I'd prefer to do it after Brexit, if I'm brutally honest. So yeah, there's nothing like there's no plan. There's nothing that, like I said. There's nothing. I just get up in the morning and everything still seems to be fine. So
that's it.
When it starts being an issue, maybe that's when I'll take more of a serious note.
I don't think you can really begin to comprehend the you know, what really goes on in the world. I think it's so much more complicated than people kind of assume. And the one thing that annoys me is that, like, I mean, look, we're in a warehouse community right now where, you know, most of my friends here, you know, are incredibly conscious about the environment, incredibly conscious about, you know, just, I mean, so many things that for me personally, I don't really get it, man.
Well, yeah, I'm like,
there's something about the environment that for me, I'm like, you know what, I'm absolutely all for starting again in a way that means that products and businesses are being more sustainable. But do I think that, you know, throwing this piece of plastic in the recycling bin is really going to help when we're producing so many other things that are not helping?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's probably what makes me a good businessman is that I'm very selfish. Like, I really, honestly, this conversation is probably the wrong person to be having it with, because I am, like, yeah, there's a lot worse. There's a lot worse going on in the world than me not recycling.
Oh, mate, well, no, you know, you're a nice guy, you know, and obviously I'm a nice guy as well. That's why I gave you that Rubik's cube. But
yeah,
but you can't play with it right now, man. Like, you have people like on a bus, on a train, they're like, what's he doing?
Solving the Rubik's cube.
Yeah, well, look, you solve that problem later on for sure, man. So listen, let's talk a little bit more about, you know, your selfishness.
Yes, let's.
You know, what is it that's important to you? Like, what do you stand for, Lewis Hackney?
What does Lewis Hackney stand for? I'm a big believer in pushing personal brand at the moment. That's my big one. That's my big thing. I'm really keen to get businesses to really be more honest, which I guess is unselfish. It's very transparent and maybe help in the evil corporate world. That's a big one. The next thing I stand for is selfish. More selfish to me is business growth. really want to build this into what it can become, and then use that to create my next stage, and go back into startup world, and look to build
into the startup world, back into the lion's den.
Back I go. Yeah, next stage is an incubator. That's where we're sort of heading. We've got to build to a level, and then back, and then use that again as more leverage. Build that up higher to however long that will take, and then use that to go back into finance and create a fund.
Wow,
that's the master plan.
Am I going to see you in a few years' time, sat in a pub with a suit on again?
I won't be wearing a suit. No, but it will be a financial institution.
I like that, man. You make your personal brand about what you want to wear.
Yeah. I think that's stage one. Like this, let's not skip over this shirt.
I like the shirt, man. I mean, what's that little thing on there?
This was my good friend moved to Australia for 2 years, and Australia, yeah, and she had a party to commemorate her time in the UK, or no, to celebrate her leaving, or whatever. And it was fancy dress, but they were also doing a bit of travelling to New Zealand, so the theme was Australia and New Zealand. So I got some Tipp-Ex and put a little leaf, fern leaf for the New Zealand All Blacks onto a black
t-shirt. So
it's
personal. It's a personalised t-shirt. Are we going to start seeing this on the internet soon?
Do you want
drop shipping?
I don't think I could sell this. They might kick off the New Zealand All Blacks, but it's their actual logo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So fully customised.
I just made it myself because it was cheaper than buying a whole kit.
Nice. So Lewis, let me ask you a question. Do you do anything sporty?
Do I do anything sporty? Yeah, I did. I used to row at uni competitively. Again, it's a big part of business, I guess, is actually being competitive. Going back into that, starting, the 7th of September, which is, I don't know whether this will go out before then or not.
Oh, man.
So yeah, back into the rowing wheel. But prior to that, sort of gym, just trying to be just as healthy as one can be.
Christ, I mean, you must go to the gym a lot if you're going to sit there in a boat and row all day, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. So
what happens if there's one weak member of a rowing team?
They usually get found out quite quickly.
Like, because you literally can't stop rowing, right? Like, you kind of row. Do you row to the speed of the slowest person, or what?
No, you row to the speed of the person at the front. Like, they said it.
Stick me up the front then, mate, because it will take me a very long time to get up to the likes of you guys.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you find a boat with equal ability people. I think is usually the way it works. But yeah, no, if you're slow, you'll soon find out.
Can you cheat in rowing?
I mean, you can dope. Like,
ooh, I've never understood why they call it doping. Was it like a dope, like weed, or like?
Yeah. It's
like when you smoke a joint whilst rowing. That's gonna make you row faster.
Well, maybe slower. Maybe that's what you need to do. You don't want people to think that you're actually
Bob Marley coming down the Thames on his old little rowing boat,
trying to get some rhythm in there.
No.
Yeah.
So apart from doping, I was imagining you stick a little propeller, a little engine on the back, and
right. Yeah. But no, I don't think it's ever been tried or tested.
There you go.
Maybe one day.
If CamTalks ever goes onto a bloody rowing boat, you should be careful, mate.
Cam rows.
Cam rows. Yes. Cam rows a lot.
Cam rows a lot. Is this going to be the new thing? Just take your name and stick words after it?
I mean, look. So I made a few vlogs back in the day. I really wanted to challenge myself to make these videos, these vlogs every day, and so I called it Cam Vlogs. After doing a lot of them, I just got too many opportunities, man. And that's the thing, is that like my last vlog got like 100,000 views on Facebook, and I had all these bloody people messaging me and stuff. And I was like, that was kind of part of the reason why I came down to London. So Cam Vlogs is something that I still want to get back to, man, because so many people come up to me. I have people come up to me in the street, albeit mostly in Alderney, where I'm from, in the Channel Islands, 3x2 miles, famous to a few, I call it. I have kids coming up to me and like, oh, Cam Vlogs, and I'm like, yes, I love you guys. And there was one time in Richmond when I was in a Sainsbury's, and I had a man stalking me around Sainsbury's. And I was thinking, this guy needs to stop looking at me right now. And this was back when I was doing a bit of Kyokushin, right? So I was doing a little bit of karate. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to I'll sort this situation out. Yeah, I kind of thought, what are you doing, And he approached me and he said to me, excuse me, are you that guy from YouTube? And I was like, Hello, yes, I am that guy from YouTube. And he says, yeah, you made that video about Alderney. One of my friends shared it with me and told me that we should go to Alderney. And I was like, this is incredible, you know, and this is the power of modern marketing. But I love that stuff. And, you know, I want to get back to making vlogs about all sorts of stuff. And, you know, CamTalks is just a way for me to basically batch content, man. You know, I want to be able to get as many of my friends and experts in as I can just to have conversations, because inevitably the more I kind of do this, the better I become at storytelling. You know, because all I'll do is I'll take your stories and I'll write them into my screenplays, or, you know, and truth is stranger than fiction. So, you know, when you see a short film about a finance guy in a pub, you know, on the edge of his seat, then you'll know where that came from.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Can I play myself? I've always fancied myself as an actor.
Dude, if you can act.
Well, no.
Dude, you got to do the audition stage, man. And there's one thing about auditions that I always do, and I've auditioned with a lot of people where, you know, I've just been really friendly with them. In fact, one of my best friends I literally met because he came and auditioned for me, and I gave him the role because I liked him. But anyway, so you might get yourself a chance.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the Hemsworth brothers. I think that would work too.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is interesting. Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
Yes.
Right. So Thor. I see Thor all the time now, and you know that there's recently been this thing about Facebook's listening to us for our messenger service, which I always knew that, you know, always knew that. There was some clever dick out there who was like, nah, it's just their algorithm's getting better, and like that's why we're seeing all these adverts for things we care about. Nah. I've just started going back to the gym. Literally like a week ago, right? I'm absolutely dead right now. I did squats the other day and I just haven't been able to move. But I clearly have been talking about the gym to people, right? And like I now keep seeing Thor pop up on my bloody Facebook feed saying, do you want my team? The same team that got me into shape for all these films? Well, you can. And it's like one of these like online PT type things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know what you're doing. You know, I know that this is like, you know, what you want me to buy into your PT program so that you're going to basically give me all the things on how I'm going to do it. Are you going to lift the weights for me? You know, are you going to go to the gym for me, Thor? You know? He's not, is he?
No, he's not, unfortunately.
He's not.
Well, hopefully in maybe 10 episodes we'll see where you go.
That would be interesting.
That would be good. You're really gonna give it a good go this time?
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I went, you know, for the first time the other day. I did legs because I thought, you know, why don't I start with the hardest one, and then I should be able to, you know, get better from there. It was tough. It was real tough, man. Like I'm looking around, I'm seeing these ripped guys and girls, you know, absolutely just killing it, and there's me listening to my little audiobooks, just like, you know.
Yeah, but everyone's at different levels. That's the beauty of the world.
Completely, man, completely. I guess I was really lucky in the sense that I know quite a few people who have given me advice about, you know, going to the gym and stuff like that. So I'm motivated by certain individuals who, you know, continue to go to the gym and get shredded and stuff like that. But I think eventually I'll have to find something to do with all those muscles.
Like a sport.
A sport.
I'm
you
the
know.
same. You can only lift weights for so long. It's got to be a point to it.
There's no point. There's no point in lifting really heavy weights for no reason.
I don't need to look good. I'd rather, it's got to do something.
Well, why do we want to look good, man?
Personal branding.
Jesus, that word PB's coming out again.
Exactly. I mean, we've just talked an absolute load of rubbish for a good period of time, but I'm really interested in. You said that you were going to get like a number of people on this.
Yeah.
What's the aim? What's the goal? I want to know more about this.
You want to know more about CamTalks?
Yeah,
Dude,
of course.
You know, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan podcast. Like, honestly, I listen to that like religiously. Not because, you know, only because I literally work all the time. So when I'm working, I have it on in the background. And of course, I don't just listen to it, I actually watch it. So this is why these are video podcasts. And eventually I'd like to be able to, you know, meet people like yourself and more importantly, people I don't know. You know, me and you can shoot the shit for hours because we know each other. But I want to be able to talk to people who have, you know, incredible lives and find out more about their lives. And, you know, I guess just find out good stories. You know, I'm motivated by storytelling. You know, my dad's an amazing storyteller, and he's always taught me that everything is about stories, you know, and it doesn't matter whether you've got a really good camera or a bad camera or, you know, a good team or a bad team or no team, right? If you've got a story, if you can tell a story, then inevitably, like, you'll be able to, like, move emotions. And moving emotions, man.
100%. I mean, literally come back from a wedding yesterday, and the whole day was amazing. It's a very good friend of mine from uni, but he did a speech, and then obviously my friend also did the best man speech, and he was telling stories, and you say that type of thing, and you look at like, for example, people, the best nights that they have is when they sit round and talk about the old times. It's very much like
the old days, the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. Like those tend to be the ones that do the best. Is the ones where you're just talking about what you need to, just anything really, just reminiscing, like telling. As great as it was in the moment, people love to hear it. Maybe a year, 2, 3 years later, it's definitely a very powerful tool. It's
marketing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you know about marketing. It's the truth isn't that interesting. What's interesting is one person telling you another person about something to be aware of. I figured that's probably why we love storytelling so much. Don't touch that fire; it will hurt. Evolution, baby.
Evolution.
Absolutely love it. So, Lewis, where are you from? Where in the UK are you based, or are you?
I live in London. I'm originally from just south of Manchester, small little.
You're a northerner.
I'm a northerner.
He's a northerner. North of the wall.
Can you tell?
Yeah, slightly sometimes.
Yeah, I hide it well. I'll tell you a story. I was in the pub a couple of weeks ago, and this guy said, it was me and my friend were talking, and he just sort of looked over his shoulder and went, "Is that a Stoke accent I hear?" And I go, "Yeah, I am sort of from Stoke." He was like, "Yeah, I thought so." Like, complete like North London bloke.
Is that the first time it's ever happened to you?
It's starting to happen a lot more. That was like probably the second or third time, but it's more regularly. But this guy was from North London, and he was just like, "Is that a Stoke accent I hear?" I was like, "Yes." How? He went, "I just get little bits of it." But yeah, I thought I had it well. So yeah, Stoke, Staffordshire.
Staffordshire.
Yeah, so
love it.
That's where I'm from originally, quite a small town, and yeah, now in the big city.
The big city. And you know what? It's interesting, man. I think that Northerners in general have gone up in popularity.
Well, we're nice people.
Well, not only that, but you've got Game of Thrones to thank for you, and Peaky Blinders. There was at one stage that people didn't even understand what it is you guys were saying. Dude, can I have a sip of that? Like, I just realised I've literally not brought a drink in with me, but I gave you a jug of water. So give me 1 second, just gonna.
Yeah, I'm really hydrated. You're not.
There you go. Well, there's your last bit of water.
Can I have that clip? Just you drinking it?
Just me drinking that. We're going to turn it into a GIF, everybody.
Yeah, just you drinking.
It's going to be called "Talking for Over an Hour Without Water Kills." And but the point is, Northerners are valuable to me. Look, I spent 8 years in Manchester, and when I moved up to Manchester from a little place in Hampshire, it was a massive difference for me, mate. Like, and this might sound wrong or like in a weird way, but I didn't realise that there were poorer areas of the country. Genuinely, I didn't realise that there was this difference of poverty levels. And that sounds crazy, right? But then over the 8 years I've been in Manchester, I've done a lot of voluntary work for certain charities, and of course the homelessness, man.
Yeah, it's quite right. Yeah, it's quite bad up there. Probably worse than here, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, why is homelessness bad in Manchester?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. There seems to be a lot more of it, a lot more concentrated. I honestly have not even looked into it at all to give you an honest answer. It just, I guess, like you say, it's a poor area of the country. Like, there's a lot of skill gaps, and yeah, people struggle. I mean, again, maybe stuff to do with being outside of London and the support network. This. Sorry, I keep punching this.
That's right. Punch away, mate. It's cheap. It's fine.
It's cheap but great.
It's cheap, but hey, listen. At least we have a roof over our heads, right?
Two
roofs. Yes. This is a room within a warehouse.
It's amazing. Well, technically 3 then.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point, isn't it? Is that like, for me, we're so goddamn lucky, man.
We are. Yeah.
We're so goddamn lucky.
Very much so.
Yeah, we could be born anywhere in the world.
At any time.
Yeah, I mean, shit, we could have literally been born in, like, I don't know, the cavemen days.
Yeah. Or the 1500s, Black
Plague. I would definitely be dead. Look, I can't even grow a beard. You know what I mean? I would either be someone's bitch or I'd be dead. That's it.
Is that just your artist interpretation of a caveman? Beards, tiger.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I would like to think that back then I would have made friends with the biggest person around, whether that's a man or a woman, and just been their friend. In that way, I would have had protection from, the saber-toothed tigers and the woolly mammoths and other tribes, right, who'd want to just like come in and slaughter people. So I'd like to think that if I was a caveman, I would be more of a brew to another cave person, because I can't hold a club. No, I can't do that, man. I can barely, honestly, I did a bit of karate and I just didn't want to hurt someone. I remember my first karate lesson, they literally told me, I have to be more aggressive.
Would you do sort of cave ads?
Cave ads for cavemen?
Yeah, yeah.
Mate, caveman instincts still sells. This is why men are so susceptible to masculine branding. It's like the whole. Do you remember the dollar beard club? Everyone's like, I'm a man. Oh no, that's Old Spice, right?
Yeah, Old Spice.
Look at your man.
Look back at me.
Now look at your man.
Now look back at me. Are we gonna do the whole ad?
Yeah, now imagine your man riding a horse.
I'm on a horse.
I'm on a horse.
Yeah, very much so. It's sex, and I've just said the word sex, and not really, sex.
Are you looking at me in that way again?
Sex? No, sex sells.
Lewis, we went on that camping trip once, and I told you no more, man.
But it was fun. Sex sells, and of course, if you like going to the gym, like you saw Thor, it's like I can look like Thor.
I know.
Yeah,
But then actually, it destroyed my entire image of Chris Hemsworth, because now I call him Chris Hemsworth. Like, he was Thor to me, and then he popped up in my newsfeed, like telling me that I could be that ripped. I'm like, but I literally thought you came from like fucking Godland.
That's so weird that he's doing that. Surely that.
He's making so much money out of that, man.
Yeah, but how much money would he make out of films? Like,
a lot, man. But the thing about rich people, the thing I've learned is that they want even more everything.
Yeah.
More money, more drugs, more experiences, more everything.
Yeah, probably. But you don't normally see Hollywood actors doing that. I was just impressed.
Well, I think we're moving into a new age now where, certainly branding has moved on. And if they didn't have Chris Hemsworth in the advert, the conversion rate would be absolutely shit.
Yeah. If it's just the bloke who's like, I taught Chris Hemsworth how to lift weights.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the ironic thing, right? So then you click through and then you don't see him ever again.
Yeah, of course not. They paid for that one ad, which is definitely helps. But
and of course, it's a shame because I'm sure Marvel haven't got a contract with Chris Hemsworth to say you can't ever do any adverts for anything anymore, but you have to be Chris Hemsworth. You cannot be Thor. Because I would have bought into that program if he was wearing Thor's costume, right?
Yeah.
I would have been like, look, that's a real Asgardian god, right? Sat there with his hammer, let's do it, But because, it's just Chris Hemsworth, man. I'm like, pfft. I've met lots of actors, man. I've met lots of celebrities. And, when you work with these people, you get this weird sense that they're incredibly human and also incredibly... What's the word? Vulnerable, man. I've met a few people that I'm like, oh, like you were, on screen, you are like a god, but in person, like, you're quite a humble person.
Yeah, I can get that. It's an industry where they're always open to critique, and not even like early actors and actresses. Jesus, like going for roles, must be constant rejection. I feel it could go one or two ways, I guess. Once you make it, you could become an absolute arrogant arsehole.
Yeah, it happens.
Or you can, take it very well and be very humble in the fact that people are trying to do something that you've also you've achieved and can be.
What's your experience working with football players? Because I've met a couple of football players now doing these different commercials, and there's something about football players. They're either really, really humbling, or they're absolute arseholes.
Yeah, I mean, so the podcast, I was able to meet quite a few of them because they were their guests, they were their friends, and it was quite nice. I mean, yeah, similar. I mean, these were lower league players. These are not like your Ronaldos and Messis, and they were earning decent money, but only for a short.
They hadn't had a chance to become an arsehole yet.
Well, they were nice guys. Some of them were, like, I'm not going to lie about it, but they weren't earning a fortune. Like, they once it stopped, they'd obviously, I don't know what they were like as actual players. They may have been a little bit worse because obviously they were earning whatever, 10,000, 7,000 pounds a week. But as soon as that stops, you get used to, it then all recatches back up with you, and you're a bit like, oh, okay, maybe I need to just chill out and do stuff. So yeah,
football players are literally paranoid, right? Like any day that could end for them.
Well, yeah, it can, like, very easily.
Unless you're a Beckham or Ronaldo, you've really got you're one injury away from poverty, mate.
Exactly, which is why it's really important,
especially with that lifestyle.
Yeah,
because you can't be riding some shit car.
No, but if you create some sort of personal brand around...
Are you plugging your business here now, Lewis?
Around that, you
go on, Lewis. Plug your business. Go on. Tell us where we can find out more information about yourself. If someone wants to get some personal branding done, how do we get into contact with you?
You can message me on Instagram. Yeah, let's go with that one. At Lewis Hackney.
At Lewis Hackney, somewhere along here, we will place it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Or my business is social360.co. So if you're super keen, you can go through that. So Lewis at social360.co is my email.
There you go. There's a little plug. I love it.
I've never plugged myself before.
Well, there you go. You better get used to it, mate, because this is it's been a pleasure.
It's been good.
Yeah, I hope that, when we're a little bit more further down the line, we can get you back on the show and, we can talk a little bit more about all manner of things.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely come back. But yeah, how was episode 1?
Well,
wow, there we go.
A lot better than some of my first work before, but it is interesting because, essentially you'll all look back at this. We'll all look back at this when we're, old men and women and, we're just suddenly old and dying.
Oh my God, that was fun.
Well, we'll look at our faces, right? We'll be like, oh, we were so youthful back then, and now listen to us talk. We're like old people.
I'm moisturising everything today. I've got into that now.
Good luck, mate.
I'm getting old.
Branding, mate. Nivea's got you by the balls.
How do you know I was using Nivea? Don't use it on your balls. You've got to keep them wrinkly. I'm starting to moisturise. I don't want to be old. Although someone said I had a baby face the other day, which is quite...
You kind of do, and I've seen you when you shave. When you shave, Lewis,
yeah.
I'm like, you're like your brother.
Yeah. He is young.
Yeah, he is real young, man. He is. Oh, I mean, poor bugger. He's not that young anymore, is he? What is he, like 21?
20.
20.
Yeah.
And the best thing is that he'll always get older.
He will, yes.
Thank God that these people don't just stay younger.
I know. They'd be annoying. If you want any wine, I'm going to plug him as well.
Oh, tell us about the wine business.
Yeah. So we split up.
He split up. He's your brother, man.
Well, we split up.
We're going to see you on the Jeremy Kyle show next week, aren't we? It's like Lewis and his brother.
Yeah. So we took our separate paths after our first failure, and he set up a wine business with my dad and my dad's friend. They spent the last 3 months travelling around France, Italy, the UK, sourcing some wines. They've now done that. It's now for sale. It's a very new business.
How do we find out about this business?
That is 3 Squires.
3 Squires? Is that you, your dad, and him?
No, it's not myself. I'm not involved in this one.
Who's replaced you?
Well, there's actually 4 of them. It's like the Musketeers. So
bloody hell.
It's my dad and 2 of my dad's friends are the...
Are you giving Gary Vee a run for his money? Is this it? You're going after Wine Library TV?
The family... that's the family business with my brother.
I love it.
I don't even do that much with it. I just get the odd call, and that's it. Really, a little bit of marketing, but nothing major. So 3 Squires wines, very nice.
Well, look, I'm happy to plug that on CamTalks if you can supply me with a couple of crates.
I'm very much getting hampers made for Christmas.
Fantastic. Well, we will review them. Why don't we get you back on and we'll do some wine tasting?
That sounds good.
Sounds good, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Lewis Hackney, everybody. Episode 1.
Thank you so much.
And we're out.